Look at me being in a world where I'm correct once more. Whoa. What? Whoa, what a concept. Hey yo. Hey yo. What's going on? What's going on, guys? So, yeah. We're doing another one of these kind of videos. It's been a little bit since we've done one, and I couldn't really think of a game to play in the background while I did something like this. Because with Roblox going downhill, because it's a fucking stupid piece of shit, right? I couldn't do a Roblox game because I don't hate myself. So instead I figured, well, we'll just do like a Minecraft survival thing. It's probably going to be another one that just kind of gets destroyed. And I'm realizing that I'm starting to notice the difference between 60 frames and above. Like, because I got a new monitor and now I'm realizing it, and like, honestly, it's a little sickening. I'm not gonna lie, it's a little fucking sickening. I'll see if I can endure it. I'll see if I can endure it. I really don't think I will, but we'll see. We'll see. But anyways, welcome back to me talking about things, and today's going to be a very interesting one. It's going to be kind of similar to when I talked about my trauma in 2020, where I came across a realization in my life that honestly is going to make things so much better for me. So if you're interested in people talking about how they're improving upon themselves, you know, starting from a lower side and, you know, building their way up or whatever, then, you know, kick back, relax. We're just gonna talk about it a bit. Because, you know, why not, right? So anyways, what's the story? Well, before we get straight into the story, allow me to take you back a bit. So, I've talked numerous times about my old VR chat friend group. I know, I beat that topic to death. But it's important, right? So anyways, there was the VR chat friend group that I made back in 2018, around the end of 2018. And for the longest time, right, like that group, okay, hang on, I'm probably gonna have to turn down some of the volume. Oops. Where was I? Right. So I met this group in VR chat, and you know, they like indirectly saved my life, right? Because they were genuinely really good people, and all sorts of other stuff like that, right? That's all fine and dandy. That's great. So later down the line, though, there was a bit of drama with certain people from the friend group, and yeah, I think I've mentioned it before, but I'm not going to go over what happened with what, right? Because it's not my place. It's not my place to talk about other people's shit in my own video. But, you know, it started off with just a few, like, friends, like, splitting off, right? And while it was pretty shitty, it was also very manageable for the most part. It wasn't, like, the greatest thing in the world, but it also wasn't the worst thing in the world, if that makes sense. Like, you definitely could have had worse things happen, for sure. Now, for me, though, while at first it didn't bother me all that much, because I was thinking, you know what, friends, they typically split apart at times. Things happen, whether it be because of drama or things in real life, or just in general, just life in general, and sometimes it's like, you know, people just drift apart. Sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse. It just really depends, you know, it's just all in perspective, you know? And again, this didn't affect me that much at first, but later down the line, it slowly did. And in 2020, that's kind of where it hit the most, because there was a lot of shit already going on at that time anyway. Stuff that I am luckily far from bothered by these days. But one thing that was still bothering me, apparently, was something I tried to replicate. Like I said, this friend group indirectly saved my life. By that I mean I was a really depressed individual and was going through quite a bit, having some thoughts, if you will, which I'm a lot better now. But you know, I always felt grateful for that group, because if it wasn't for them, that I wouldn't be here making this video. You know, hell, I wouldn't be doing a lot of the things that I have accomplished over the past few years. So I really owe it to them. Even the people from that group that I don't necessarily like anymore, I still at least have a bit of respect for them, because, well, you know, I mean, they kind of gave me a place, you know? They gave me a place to be and whatever. So it's great. However, since that friend group, you know, split apart and everything, I didn't necessarily have anything to consider like, you know, a friend group anymore. Don't get me wrong, I had a lot of friends, really good friends, a lot of people who I'm still friends with to this day and still treat well, or at least I try to. But there, you know, it just wasn't, I don't know. Because I guess that friend group used to do everything with each other, right? From watching movies to all sorts of other shit and whatever. And now that's just gone, you know? Now it's just gone, and there's nothing I can do about it, which sucks. Because, you know, when you have a friend group that splits up like that, things happen. So when I said I was trying to replicate something, I tried to replicate the feelings of being in that old friend group. What do I mean by that exactly? Well, it wasn't a matter of me trying to just make a new friend group to be like, oh yeah, just make a new friend group, have a bunch of new friends and whatever, do some cool stuff. No, if it was that simple, well, it wouldn't have led to the situation. I wanted to replicate the feelings that I had while in that old group. Now, I know for a lot of you, or just anyone with a brain really, you could see that either as a red flag, or definitely a, whoa, hang on, what the fuck are we doing here? Because logically, right, that's not something I can just replicate. Oh, iron, shit. Trying to replicate something like that is damn near impossible unless I happen to get into a similar scenario that I did originally from that sitch, right? But, of course, me being, let's see, I think I was 18 on my way to being 19? That's right, yes, I was. I was 18 on my way to being 19. And yes, that is an adult, but I'm also not an intelligent adult, in case it wasn't too obvious, right? I had a lot of things I needed to think about, and I wasn't the smartest when thinking about it, which is 100% on me, you know? So what did I do exactly? Well, part of the individuals who were in a certain friend group and sort of left, right? Like they split off to go do their own thing and whatever. They had their own little friend group, and I was like, okay, this could be a start to something kind of cool. Like I could be a part of this. I was a nervous wreck at first, but an individual from there who I do not talk to, nor do I. Well, that's not true. I still have a bit of respect for him because he was a part of like the original friend group, but I don't have the same amount of respect for him anymore because, well, he turned out to be an asshole. And I won't talk about that specific individual because I've already made jokes about it a lot in some other videos and other shit, so there'd be no point. What is with all these crevices? Holy shit. It was a group that individual was helping me like try to get out of my comfort zone when it comes to, you know, introducing myself and just trying to be a part of the group and whatever. And I gotta thank him for that, obviously, because, you know, I wouldn't have been a part of it otherwise, which I think was kind of nice. But, however, that was the start of something god-awful. So here's the main ordeal, right? Here's the sitch, here's the scenario. In this group, there were many different types of individuals, all with their own, like, different personalities, quirks, all that stuff. Similarly to the old friend group, which makes sense. A good majority of them are from that old group anyway, so makes sense, right? Now, there was something that was a part of this group that I didn't notice initially. And don't get me wrong, not everybody fell under this category, but a good majority of them did. And it made me wonder, why the fuck did I stick with them? Again, not all of them. There's a select few from that group that I still think are genuinely good people and deserve respect. But there are also a lot that I either don't respect or I don't really care whether or not they hate me or whatever. But why is this? What made me sort of flip-flop on this? What made me change my mind about everything? Like, some people would say it's an impulse. Some people also decide to get their brains checked when they say stupid shit like that, but I digress. But if you want to know the true answer, the true, like, everything, right? The best way I can describe, like, what was going on was that this group seemed a little more edgy. And by edgy, I'm not talking about the whole, like, oh, dark and brooding, ooh, Shadow the Hedgehog, or ooh, like something like that. You know, I'm not talking like the generic edgy. I'm talking like with the term, I guess that what it actually means, or more accurately, what it can also be used for. Like, to be more precise, they were a lot more into like edgy humor in the sense of like saying questionable things that you cannot say on Twitch, for example. Like if you know what I mean by that, you know what I mean by that. Ooh, planes. Okay, perfect. I found a place to start building my house. It's gonna be a shitty house, but we'll make it. They did all kinds of stuff, and at first, I didn't see it as a big deal because a lot of the jokes they made were for people that were within the group and they were fine with it, right? So I was thinking like, okay, well, I mean, if they're okay with it, then that's not the worst, right? That's a terrible excuse, and I can't believe I did that. Like, I don't know. I'm just kind of different like that. I'm not saying that other people can't enjoy those kind of edgy jokes. It's just, for me, I was just tolerating it for far longer than I should have, and I just don't like them. Like there are some times where I'm like, okay, haha, it's kind of funny, fucked up, obviously, but kind of funny. But then there's other times where I'm just like, okay, can we fucking stop now? Like, once or twice, sure, but if 3 or more, I'm just like, now you're just fucking pushing it, and it's really fucking annoying, and nobody actually fucking cares. Like, it just gets to that point where I just, I don't know. It just doesn't feel great. But again, I tolerated it. Keyword, by the way, tolerated it, because apparently I was a fucking stupid idiot for having tolerated it, which, you know what? That's 100% correct. I was very stupid for tolerating such nonsense. I don't know. Like, but here's the thing. If it was just that, that was like the main, bad shit or whatever, then again, we wouldn't be making this video. We wouldn't be talking about this. So how did things escalate, if you will? How did things work out? Well, let's first talk about this friend group in particular, right? I used to think that they were a pretty good, like, substitute of what I originally had from the old group. It wasn't exactly the same, but followed similar beats and all that. And it was just fun being involved with everybody in it. At least, that's what I thought at the time. I didn't think anything of it. Like, I just thought the people were cool to hang out with and whatever. But little did I know is that would slowly start changing me over time. Like I said, they were making all these edgy jokes and whatever, and I feel like my stupid, dumb fucking ass just, don't get me wrong, I didn't make a lot of edgy jokes, but I was slowly tolerating it more and more to the point where it's like, yeah, who cares? And I'm like, why did I do that? Why did I do that? I don't understand. I don't understand why I did that. I feel like a fucking asshole. I feel like a dick. Like, everybody else who's like, you know, like, oh, like, let's say the joke is about, like, God, I don't know, because it's gonna sound fucking wrong, but let's say it's, like, for a certain group or whatever, and, like, someone from said group is, like, they say they're fine with it, but I'm like, I don't know, I still feel fucking terrible about it. I still feel fucking terrible about it, but I only do that because it's like, oh, apparently I don't know, it's a really weird-ass thing. I know this sounds completely off topic, and it partially is, but it's also a smaller portion of a bigger picture. It's kind of like, having that one side quest that on the surface looks like there's nothing to it, but it also connects to a bunch of other shit. And it's kind of like, okay, it's still a completely optional thing to mention, but it does partially support some of the other shit. I like breaking my legs, evidently. This friend group, it's like, there were genuinely good people, and I'd like to say that a lot of them are, but I don't know. They did a terrible job at showing it, some of them. Like, honest to God. A lot of them felt fucking stupid. Like, I don't know. It's so dumb because... See, I'm like kind of flubbing a lot of the shit on how I'm supposed to describe it because... Admittedly, I'm still... I don't want to say betrayed. That's not the term. I don't feel betrayed by any means. But I don't feel fucking respected by them. That's for goddamn certain. Anyways, there was a scenario one time, right? We were watching, like, some kind of game trailer. I do not remember what the game was. I think it was some sort of third-person action shooter kind of thing. I don't know. It looked kind of cool. Simple, but it looked cool. And a certain word was used. How funny. What was it? What was this word? Starts with a W and rhymes with Coke. We'll do that. We'll say that for it, if you will. It wasn't so much the word itself that was mentioned. No, if it was just that, then it's whatever. I despise the word, but that's not the end of the world. No, what is how they were using the word, and it was always in insensitive and, like, prickish ways, you know? And they had done this for a good while, right? Like, even before this, like, the current story I'm telling you, even before this, they have always been doing that. And before, I was like... I secretly really fucking hated that, but I never said anything about it. Why, you may ask? Simple. I was a fucking idiot. I think we've made that abundantly clear from all the shit that I've been saying so far. I'm a fucking idiot. So anyways, when that stuff was brought up again while we were watching that fucking video, I snapped. Which I usually never do. I usually never get mad. And if I do, more often than not, it's for a good reason. Or, you know, at the very fucking least, like, I don't know. The point is, I just never get angry as often. Like, I at least try not to get angry often because, well, A, it's not fun for anybody around who gets to bear witness to it. But also, it's like, it's not fair to anyone either. Because, like, you know, it could change up the mood of the conversation or whatever. And I always feel bad. But I'm also just, I fear myself when I'm mad. I don't know. That's just another thing. That's a completely, like, separate thing. It's fucking ugly. But anyways, I snapped at them. I was like, you need to stop fucking talking about games like this. Like, if a game is good, or if it's bad, think about actual logical reasons why they're good or bad. Like, oh, does the gameplay suck, or is it intriguing? Is it enticing? Is it fun? All that sort of shit. Don't just start throwing this fucking shit around like you know what it means, because spoiler alert, no the fuck you don't know what it means, you fucking morons. Then everyone went silent. And I've talked about it on my main channel with my final checkup video. It's not public, but if you want to watch it, it's in the playlist that I have of checkup videos. For those who still want to see it. I heavily doubt anyone would, but it is there. It is there for anyone who is curious. But one of the people from that friend group, who I considered a best friend, keyword, they saw me talk about that in the video, and they apologized, right? Because they were like, they didn't know how much that affected me and everything, because it was like really annoying and whatever. And it was like, and I was like, you know what? They went out of their way to apologize, like, for all that stuff and whatever. And in their defense, they didn't know that it would, like, upsetted me or anything. So you know what? Yeah, I accept the apology, obviously. Like, again, they went out of their way to apologize. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, that's very nice of you. I appreciate it. Cool. Nice. I accept your apology. And I also apologized too. I was like, I'm sorry if I came off as a bit dickish and whatever. I didn't mean to come off as that. It's just, you know, I was just holding it in for a bit and then finally had to just let it out a bit. Which they were very understanding about, which is cool. Right? It was very cool. Now, this won't last long. And plus, more things got added. Hoo boy, more things got added. Oh yeah, just great. Just fucking ruined my life. Don't know why I'm trying to sound like Sonic now. I don't know what the big idea with that is. I couldn't tell you. I do a lot of weird things. A bunch of other things started slowly happening after the fact. And keep in mind that last checkup video in question, I believe it was in 2025 when I made it. If I'm not mistaken, yeah. It should be 2025 when I initially made it. And I just realized there's probably going to be hostile mobs or... Oh, no, the rain stopped. Cool. I like the skin. I just found it online. It's cute. I like it. But anyway, they started doing some other things. And while these problems did persist in the past, they weren't nearly as prevalent as what they are now. What is the trend with this world and fucking caverns and shit? What is going on? Let's start off with the first thing that isn't as egregious, but is still pretty fucking annoying, and that's everybody taking games super fucking seriously. Now, by taking things super seriously, I'm not referring to the idea of like, oh, like they get really into games and they want to learn everything about it and whatever. They want to know about like the best type of ways to play the game and whatever. No, it's nothing like that. While they do that, that's not the main issue. If that was the main issue, I wouldn't be bringing this up. No. By taking games seriously, like let's say we're playing a fighting game. Let's say one player is losing or whatever, right? They're losing and it's not really going well in their favor, which is fine, you know. With how fighting games are, it's understandable that sometimes you'll start having a losing streak. It happens. Well, not for this person, apparently. This sore, loser-ass motherfucker. Specifically them, right? It's like they're calling out bullshit on all this and whatever, and I'm like, dude, they literally landed after using light in midair. Of course they were gonna block. Like, if it was medium or heavy, you probably would have gotten it, but it obviously wasn't either, so, like, why are you fucking complaining? Like, what is this shit, you know? And they just kept on getting mad and shit for, like, no reason. And you would think that, like, oh, well, if they do get a bit mad, maybe they should hop off the game or whatever, or stop playing whatever, because clearly the game's making them mad, and that's not good for someone. You shouldn't want to be mad all the time. Like, if I ever start getting mad at a game, which is pretty rare, but if I ever do start getting mad at a game, I turn it off and just walk away, because at the end of the day, it's just a fucking video game, right? I love video games, and I will always defend them passionately, but they're not Shelter, okay? I can walk away from video games. Like, if you told me to stay away from video games for, like, a week, I mean, I wouldn't fucking like it, but I'll survive. It's not the end of the world. I would have other means of being able to entertain myself. I like all kinds of other things, you know? Like, I have graphic design. I like doing graphic design stuff. It's fun. Am I good at it? No, but it's fun. I like it. So, I have other means of entertaining myself if I ever have to. But anyways, this person does not hop off these games. They stay on and constantly rage and get mad, and it's like, why are you even playing if you're just going to keep getting mad? I don't understand. And there's some other instances that happen, primarily in hero shooters, specifically Marvel Rivals and Overwatch. I know a lot of us have our opinions on what game is better or worse. Let's be honest, both are terrible. I kid. If you like either or, then, you know, good on you. That's... You know, I wish I could enjoy shooter games in general, but I just can't these days. There's a lot of complaining in that accord and whatever, right? And this is from an instance that I heard about. Now, I wasn't involved with this because, like I said, I don't really enjoy shooter games in general, so I'm never usually involved when Overwatch or Marvel Rivals are played. I tried playing them for a bit, and while I'll admit I had some fun, they're just not my cup of tea. It's not something I want to constantly play, which is fine. But apparently there was an instance where they were getting, like, targeted a lot in Overwatch. They were playing a healer for reference too, so it was like, yeah, you're gonna be target number 1, or at the very least number 2, you know? You're one of the VIPs, you know? That's always a thing with healers in these kind of games. Typically you want to take them out first, so that way taking out the other characters is a lot easier, because, you know, you got nobody bringing their HP pullback. Now, apparently, while they were being targeted, they never said anything, right? They never brought up shit. And then, apparently, they lashed out on everyone in the fucking VC for not helping him. And, again, he didn't say anything about him getting targeted or attacked or whatever. So, obviously, everyone in the VC responded with, like, what the fuck are you talking about? You didn't even say anything. We didn't know, like, what was going on. Like, don't get mad at us because you didn't decide to say anything. And apparently bro got silent for the rest of that. And I don't know if they left or not, but when I heard about that, I was like, dude, like, what? I can understand being annoyed, but, like, that's stupid. That's really fucking stupid. Why would come on, dude. That's childish. That's fucking childish is what that is. Like, oh, okay, I didn't know I finished that tree. Like, that goes beyond what I was bringing up before about him not stopping to, like, playing these games, even though it makes him mad. And he doesn't even understand how these games function in the first place. Like, he just thinks he does. Like, I'm sorry, you're a Hoyoverse player. You didn't fucking do anything right. Like, come on, bro. Come on, bro. You tried to convince me that Genshin Impact was better than WoWA. I don't even care for either games, but you can't, in good conscience, tell me that Genshin is better. You just can't. That's stupid. What? It's like comparing chocolate milk and spoiled milk. Like, yeah, they're similar things, but one is obviously worse than the other, you know? I mean, obviously it's based off of preference. If you do like Genshin more, then, you know, that's fine and whatever. But you gotta admit, it's fucking nothing like what it used to be. Especially not in the past. But anyways, that's like a trend with this guy, right? Where apparently, like, he'll start spouting out a bunch of shit, get mad, and, like, whenever he's being told that he's in the wrong or whatever, that, you know, apparently he just shuts up. But not for me, apparently, which we'll get to that momentarily. We're going to put a pause on this individual's incompetence, but for right now, let's focus on another thing with this group. Now, admittedly, this part of the group is more of a group that I left in the past. Why did I do that? Well, let me break it down for you. This old friend group used to have a Discord server. I think it's still up, I'm not sure, but I'll touch on that in a bit. So, there was this Discord server. We originally made it because one of the individuals, who I still kind of somewhat respect, don't care for them or whatever, but I at least respect them because they were part of the original group. But anyways, they wanted to make a Discord server where the premise was that nobody technically owned it. Like, yes, I created said server in question, right? But pretty much everybody had like some form of an admin role or some kind of thing that like doesn't make it seem like, oh, you know, somebody is the true owner of this server. Like, yeah, there is one who created the server who has like the biggest hierarchy, but otherwise there's pretty much nobody really owned it. And for a while, it was kind of great, you know? It was just a bunch of friends hanging out, either playing games or watching videos or whatever. It was fun. But then it got fucking stupid. What is that? Oh, it's a horse. I thought it was a different mob. It looked weird. It was like a barnacle. I'm sorry, horse. I didn't mean to be so mean to you about that. I thought you were a new mob that was added that I didn't know about. But anyways, in this group were a select few individuals. And there were two individuals in general that was the reason that I left the server. Why was that? Well, one of them in particular was an alcoholic know-it-all who basically just liked pushing people's buttons just for the sake of it. I once told him to shut the fuck up and fucking move on with his fucking life. Because he just kept doing that to everybody. Like, it wasn't just like, oh, they're doing it to me. No, they were doing it to everybody. I'm like, and the reason I bring up the whole alcoholic thing is because that's just apparently what they're known for, which that's sad. That's sad. Like I'm not trying to downplay like the problems with alcoholism or anything like that. I'm not saying that at all. Because I know for a lot of people that's a serious problem. And I'm not trying to seem like a dick with that. I want to make that very clear. But he seemed like one of those guys where, like, yes, they're aware it's a problem. They're not going to do a fucking thing about it, though. They're going to keep being a dick to everyone. Like, that's kind of the vibes that guy gave off for me. And for a lot of other people, including my real friends, my true friends, they agreed. Hell, Akuma, one of my best fucking buddies, right? Even he agreed that he did not like that guy at all because of how he acted towards others. It's like, bro was a dick, you know? And this other guy, he was honestly arguably the main reason, but he made certain jokes. They were sexual jokes, which ordinarily isn't the weirdest thing, like as long as it's not too weird or whatever. Like, I'm fine with lewd jokes or whatever like that. I don't have a problem with that. What I do have a problem with, however, is if those jokes involve those who are not of age. God, why did I fucking... So and not only that individual assumed so much about me and a bunch of other people. I'm just like, what a fucking cock. Now, I know what some of you guys are thinking. Why didn't you just kick or ban those individuals if they were clearly causing issues for one another? This is where we get a little deeper into the bullshit, right? Because you're right. Under normal, smart circumstances, the correct choice would be to completely kick them out of the server, or at the very least, like, converse with them about these issues and whatever. So I talked to some guys, like here's the thing. First of all, we conversed with these individuals that were starting the problem and whatever, causing all these issues. They didn't say or do jack shit. Like, they just simply kept doing what they were doing. So obviously, that was a no-go. So naturally, we brought it up to some other people, primarily those who were acquaintances or at the very least somewhat decent friends with said individuals. And yeah, nothing came out of that either. That's the thing. Nothing came out of that either. In fact, a lot of them didn't seem to care about these issues. They kind of blew it off as... Because, like, here's the thing. They acknowledge the fact that it bothered us. And they were saying stuff like, oh, I'm so sorry that, like, you know, affected you in that kind of way. But outside of that, they didn't do jack fucking squat. They didn't do shit. And since, like I said, the server was meant to kind of be like a thing where, like, nobody really owned it. So, while I created the server and had the highest hierarchy in it, if you will, if I were to just kick them without a moment's notice or whatever, then that could cause a bit of an uproar. Because apparently everyone in that server was just fine with it. So, I did the next best thing and just fucking left the server. Because clearly, there was no point in me staying there. And I still had contact with a lot of the other people that I at least respected in there. So it wasn't the end of the world for me. Apparently people freaked out about it, and I'm like, why? You guys care about me so much, apparently. I should have listened to Brendan when he was saying that a lot of people were, like, acting almost parasocial with me. My fucking poor brother. I swear, he knew so much. And it's not that I didn't listen to him. It's more or less I didn't want to believe it. I was in a bit of denial with what he was telling me, because I was like, bro, what you saying? What you trying to tell me? Like, I don't know. I should have listened to my bro. I really should have. I had no reason not to. I just didn't do it because I guess I'm a fucking idiot, which I know that's a world record. But after a while, right, after all that stupid shit, I decided, you know what? I'm just going to make my own server, but have primarily just the friends that I trust the most, right? And I wanted to make things a little more my way, because there were technically no rules in that previous server. Like, you know how, like, some Discord servers, they have, like, a set of rules to follow, you know? Even friend group, like, sort of, like, servers, it's best to make up some rules, you know, to make sure that things are not going too crazy and whatnot. The unfortunate matter of all of this is that nobody really followed said rules. But also nobody was enforcing said rules. And I know, it sounds like something that I should have done. But again, people were apparently going to get really pissy at me if I did something. Oh god, I'm starting to slowly sound like my brother now. Oh god, now I know how he feels. Sorry, Brendan. You could kill me for this later, if you even watch this video. I don't know. But anyways, right? So I made my own server and made my own set of rules. Where I was like, one of the major rules, and this was a very important one, right? One of the most important ones was, even if you're joking, right, don't say shit that, like, could offend someone or whatever. Especially if someone tells you, don't do that shit. Like, if someone tells you, hey, cut that shit out, then fucking stop. Simple as that. Like, I'm pretty sure anybody with a brain would look at that rule and be like, no, yeah, that's fair. Like, don't be a dick, especially if someone is politely asking you to stop doing those things. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. It was fine for a while. There were some people that started trying to put some words in the chat, and I deleted those words in the chat because it's like, whatever, right? There's just... I'm looking back on it, right? And I'll go ahead and just say one of the names of the people. I'll just go ahead and say the name of the individual who I don't really care for anymore, but at least have some respect for because they were in the OG friend group, Z. So we'll just say that. I just gotta ask this. Was almost everybody in Z's friend group after the Pangea split up just assholes? Was that just a common trend? That was something I've noticed. It's like almost everybody is either an asshole or an insensitive prick. Like, what? I'm so confused. Like, where these fuckers came from. Like, up until, like, the drama with, like, certain individuals and whatever, which I won't get into because I don't want to, but... Like, right before, even before all the drama, I had never heard of a good portion of these individuals. They just sort of spawned. And I'm not saying that's exactly how it was. Maybe Z knew them, like, long ago and whatever, and they just never got a part of that group, or they were just never mentioned to anyone, which is fine if that's the case. In some cases, looking back, I don't even blame him. But yeah, no, were the people in that group just known for being assholes? Like, that's kind of the trend I noticed. One thing's for certain, though, is that these individuals... Remember when I mentioned the one thing of a certain word being used, and I got an apology for it, and is like, yeah, we won't do that shit again? Guess what happened again? And, yeah, you know, it's just really shitty, you know? and using it for seemingly no reason, is what I would say. But apparently, there is a reason. What is this reason, you may ask? He just likes starting drama, this individual. Not Z, for reference, sorry. This is an individual who apologized to me for like all the shit that went down with it in the past. He just likes starting drama. Or at the very least, he likes watching drama start. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. He's basically a combination of XQC and Asmongold. Except not a single good property was taken from either. Not that there's many good properties with those two to begin with, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. He just likes seeing people of different groups just mad. It just in general. Just in general. It's not even just like only LGBTQ or only like black people or only whatever. No, he just doesn't care. He doesn't care. If it's something that fucking brings down a group or whatever, he's gonna be laughing about it, apparently. When I was told about that, I snapped. Again. But this time, it was kind of for a different reason. You see, before, I had this thought of, like, completely cutting ties with this individual. With all the stuff I mentioned before of, like, the excessive rage and not seeming to decide to try to qualm it or anything like that, or just constantly causing issues for a lot of other people and whatnot, to the point to where a lot of people who I've talked to about this consider him a sociopath, which I don't blame them. Considering that we've gotten to that point, though, I was considering on leaving this individual, like completely ditching them and whatever, because I was just slowly getting through with their shit. I was no longer, like, I was slowly done. I was slowly realizing that the people that I've befriended in this group, I didn't befriend them, like, here's the thing. It's not that I didn't friend them because I thought that they were good friends or whatever. Like, it wasn't anything like that. Or I didn't think that they were good friends. Sorry, I worded that wrong. Like, I thought they were good friends. Like, it wasn't, like, me trying to be an asshole or whatever. But, well, like I said before, I was trying to replicate something from my old friend group that just wasn't possible to replicate. And that is honestly a huge fault of mine. And I'm going to obviously admit that that is a fault. Like, I was stupid to assume that I could recreate something like that or try to make a friend group like be like what things once were. All because my stupid self I just couldn't accept the fact that those times are done. Those times are done. It's impossible for me to obtain what I once had in the past. It's unfortunate, it sucks, but that's just the truth. Anyways, I've had these thoughts for a while, and I didn't decide to execute it yet because I was weighing out what will happen, what won't happen. But I was also fighting with the fact of, like, my stupid brain thinking that it's still a good friend. And that's a problem with me. Sometimes I'm way too fucking nice. Sometimes I give people way too much fucking leeway. I give way too much shit in general when I really should not. And I have no reason to give these people these second chances. But I do it anyway. Because I try to be as nice to as many people as I can. Even to the point to where it fucking hurts me. And I'm not trying to make this sound like a, oh, boo me sort of shit. Because it really isn't. It's just been it's a problem that I acknowledge, but I'm also like, it's not something that's completely taken over my life, and I'm not going to like, oh, boo, it's ruining me, like, comment, subscribe, and donate. I don't know, sorry. I know I'm making this kind of weird. But anyways, after I heard that scenario going down, because for reference, I heard this from my brother, and like, this is my fucking brother, okay? Like, he's been telling me about a lot of these issues for the longest time. In fact, he's half the reason that I started noticing all these issues to begin with. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be noticing half of this. So, Brendan, you're smart. I'm sure I obviously didn't need to tell you that, but, you know, you are smart, and I owe you for showing me the correct way of going about this stupid bullshit. Because holy crap. So anyways, I unfriended this individual, blocked them. Why did I make a pickaxe? I'm an idiot. Why did I make a pickaxe? Kicked them from a server. Now, admittedly, I kicked another person from said server. Only that one person. Only that one person. Because they were the one who started the whole, well, like, one thing with this and that and whatever. And I was like, I'm not going to risk shit, okay? I'm not risking fucking shit. I know that there's going to be, like, as soon as shit starts hitting the fan... Because this motherfucker, in the past, when there was some drama between people from Z's group and another side of the group, he apparently went all out trying to cause trouble and shit. So I wasn't going to risk that. I wasn't going to fucking risk that. And I didn't tell that to Brennan initially, because A, he didn't know the scenario, and B, he honestly didn't really need to know it at the time. But now that I know what's going on with all this shit, I think it's perfectly fair for me to mention it. Oh my god, that's a fucking creeper. Sorry, I had to reference old Stampy. I just wasn't going to risk that shit. It just wasn't worth trying to take the risk on. Nothing happened until 2 days later, right? Oh god, why am I finding things? I don't like this. But anyways, nothing happened until about like 2 days later. Until the individual in question noticed that not only they weren't in my server anymore, but that I had completely blocked them out and unfriended them and everything. Again, this was not an impulse decision. I thought about all of this for so long and have voiced my complaints about all this shit for so damn long in so many different ways. Not just in my videos, but just obviously, you know, talking to them about it. Is that another fucking creeper? I gave him an out. I gave him an out. It was whatever, right? And because that they couldn't message me, because again, I blocked them, this had one of the other individuals, the other person who I kicked, who I didn't unfriend because despite me not wanting to risk that stupid shit, I didn't have that much against that guy. Like, honestly. And I still don't. At least not as of right now. And I hope it stays that way. Because, yeah, sure, he did all that shit, but he probably wouldn't ever do it again. But I guess I was just paranoid. Like, and again, my paranoia led me to thinking about, like, weighing out the decision. So it's not... I know I sound like a broken record. It wasn't an impulse. It fucking wasn't. Anyone with a brain would know, like, no, that's fair. If you were paranoid because XYZ, then, like, well, no shit. I'm just getting out of here. There's too many fucking creepers, man. They messaged me, and I didn't respond to them immediately. But this individual who got blocked by me, messaged Brendan because, well, I mean, Brendan's my brother. We live in the same house. Obviously, like... If anyone would know, probably him. And I feel bad because, admittedly, I kind of threw Brennan to the wolves on that one. And I still regret it because it's like, he didn't need to fucking have that shit go on. But of course, I accidentally dragged him into it. It's my fault, I'll admit that. But we had a scenario with it where I told Brennan everything about it. And Brennan relayed the message. Now here's what's fucked up. And I'm going to say this how it is. Because Brennan read me the message. And it solidified my point that he is either a sociopath or a fucking cock. Oh wait, that's just both, anyway. So first of all, apparently he claimed that I didn't care about the friendship. Bitch, you clearly didn't care if you wanted to go behind my back. That's, you know, that's fine. Like, apparently that apology you made for me didn't matter if you're just gonna keep trying to hurt other people. That's not my problem. You did that. You did that to yourself. Like, if anything, me staying around with you for as long as I did, despite my hatred for all that shit, honestly, that made it seem like I cared about the friendship more than you did. So, I'm just saying, man, suck a cock. But apparently, and this is what made zero sense to me, and this is what really it made no sense. He brought up Eve and Manny. Why them specifically? Well, because apparently they can do no wrong, according to him. Okay, first of all, why those two specifically? Like, yes, Eve and Manny, they're like two of my bestest buds. Like, of course I'm gonna hold them to a high regard, but why didn't this chode bring up Aaron? I've known Aaron longer than I've known Eve, and Aaron doesn't get brought up? What? Why? That doesn't make any sense. And second, can't do no wrong? Are you fucking stupid? Like, idiot. I've had some, friendships have conflicts. And Eve and Manny were no exceptions. We've had some issues with one another in our point in time. But unlike you, me and those individuals, we acted like adults. We talked things out. And we came to a solution. And we tried to do that with you. But you didn't want to listen. So, like, what? And apparently I did something to Gumi, which is fucking incorrect. Like, I did absolutely nothing to Gumi. I don't know where he got that fucking assumption from. I did absolutely fucking nothing to him. So, like, now he's just accusing me of shit that I didn't even do. And he has, like, no proof that I did anything. So, I guess he's just known for being stupid? I don't even fucking get it anymore, dude. The house is kind of ugly. I sort of hate it. Oh, well. And I've even talked to Aaron about this. Which, again, why wasn't Aaron brought... Not that I wanted him to get dragged into this kind of shit, right? Or, like, have him mentioned like that. Like, that's just fucking disrespectful. Like, to bring up even Manny like that, that's just fucking disrespectful. Fuck you, you fucking idiot. Like, really? Fucking really? That's nuts. That is nuts that you think you can get away with that shit. Oh, you're such a sociopathic cunt. You do not care about other people, do you? That's crazy. To think that I spent all my time trying to be nice to you, and this is how I get repaid. That's crazy. The one time I snap at you because you do stupid shit, you know? And you've been hurting other people. I see. Interesting. Interesting. But anyways, I talked to Aaron about it, and Aaron admitted this thing to me where he's like, yeah, the reason I haven't been going to your server that often is partially because of that individual. And you know what? I don't even blame him. I don't even blame him in the slightest. Like, if I was in his shoes, like, in a way, that's how I felt with some people from that old server, the one that, quote-unquote, didn't have any owners to it. That's kind of how I felt with that. I wouldn't go into the VC at times because certain people were in there. So, like, I don't blame Aaron. If anything, I fucking relate to him on that accord. And I've talked to some other people about this. Now, why am I guess I should explain this since I'm now bringing it up. Why exactly am I bringing this up to other people? Well, Brendan gave me some advice. He thought that, see, I told him about a lot of the reasons why I did what I did and why it was chewing me up inside as much as it really did. And I've always been struggling with telling people, like, what's been going on with me. And even when I do, it seems like I'm always ignored. You know, case in point with why I blocked this cunt. And because of him, I have to censor my Tomodachi Life video, son of a bitch. But anyways, Brennan basically told me, like, hey, why don't you go ahead and, like, talk to a bunch of people, whether it be in your server or just friends you know and whatever, and basically tell them that you've been just struggling with, you know, trying to figure out what you really wanted with, like, your friends and whatever, and that led you to feeling a bit like you were neglecting other people, or you just didn't see things the same way that you did before. And so I did. I followed on that advice that he gave me, and it was great. I told a lot of people, and a lot of them agreed that I was in the right, which I don't want to sound like a narcissist, but yeah, no shit. With all that I told them, like, I'd be shocked if they didn't agree. All of them simply agreed that they were just like, whoa, this guy seems like a fucking cunt. And I'm like, yeah, pretty fucking much. And I told them about, like, why I was hanging out with those people from Z's group to begin with, and it was like, I tried to replicate that sort of thing. Like, I tried to replicate the old feeling from my old friend group. And Aaron, God fucking love Aaron, he's literally like a big bro to me. I know he's not that much older than me. Like, hell, we're the same age, but he is, like, a few months older than me. The point is, I see him like a big bro. But anyway, he was telling me, like, hey, man, you don't gotta, like, you know, try to make a friend group, like, just craft one, you know, put people into this sort of shit. Like, you can just wait for a bunch of friends to just sort of get together and have something just be made out of it, you know? In a way, it kind of reminded me of, like, you know, like how when people talk to you about relationships or whatever, where they're just like, the perfect one will, or the right one will find you, like, you don't need to search for it, that kind of deal. It was kind of like that in a way, or at least it reminded me of that, which is kind of cool. But he's right, though. Like, sure, you can make friend groups with a lot of stuff, but that's not what I need. That's not what I should have done. And admittedly, that's kind of what brought the downfall for a lot of shit for me when it came to that group, is because I tried to replicate what I once had, even though it was obvious that it was impossible. I guess the epilogue of this so far is, yeah, nobody is mad at, or at least nobody who knows of the situation, who has a brain, is mad at me. If anything, they agree with me for what I did. The individual who I blocked is still an ass, I'm pretty sure. And he's probably going to hurt more people, but it's whatever. I can't control that. Even if I were to get a bunch of people to sick on him, which I don't want to condone witch hunting or anything like that. But even if I were to do that, he'll find another way to slither in. It does not matter. It's impossible to, like, keep up with that shit. So there's no point in me doing that. Plus, it's just not right. Again, I don't condone witch hunting. I'm just only mentioning this because it's a part of a story. That's why I make these videos. They're stories. They're me talking about life and shit. But the epilogue really is that, God, I'm happier. And I don't mean like, oh, yeah, I'm just less depressed or whatever. Or at least, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. I'm just, things make so much more sense to me now. And I'm feeling a lot more motivated to just texting my friends more often. The friends who I consider real friends. And I want to hang out with them more and, like, I feel free. Okay, I'll just put it like that. I feel free. I feel like I can actually be a decent person and not have to think twice about who I'm with. And I don't even have to hang out with these individuals, but I want to message them more. I've always wanted to, and I just never did, but now that I'm away from that asshole, I don't know, there was something about him and how he kind of influenced me to tolerate a bunch of bullshit, and since that's gone, I'm like, you know what? Me not messaging my friends often is kind of indirectly me being an asshole. You know? So I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. So I started texting a few more of my friends. Not all of them, but we'll get me there. I don't want to overwhelm myself with a bunch of DMs and whatnot, but we'll get there to where I start DMing more people and making more friends and whatever. Like, yeah, I can make some new friends and whatnot. Aaron offered to have me, like, meet up with the friends he has in VR chat, who are people that just respect people for, you know, who they are and doesn't like causing drama or like watching drama. Gee, who would have thought that being a human was a normal concept, right? That's kind of all that. I needed to make this kind of video because I genuinely feel so great now. I feel so free. Everything. I've never felt so... I know it sounds stupid. I know it sounds really stupid, really corny and shit. But I've genuinely, like... I had a feeling, like, this morning that I had never felt in years. It was an emotion. Like, I have been so cold and just numb to a bunch of bullshit. And now that I'm finally free from what was once Z's friend group, I feel like, again, this is going to sound corny, I feel alive, you know? I feel like an actual person. I feel like I don't got to worry about shit anymore. I could just, you know, hang around, work on my own stuff, do stuff with other people, and just have fun. Like, it's... Who would have thought that getting rid of a bunch of toxic people in your life would, you know, help you become a better person? Not for, like, other people specifically, but, like, for yourself. Because there's times where you got to be better to yourself, you know? You can't just only be good to other people. That's great if you're good to other people, but you can't neglect yourself. You shouldn't neglect yourself. How did that not die? Well, now that I'm out of that, I've been a lot... It's just been so good. I don't know how else to say it without sounding like I'm just repeating myself, but you know what I mean. I'm just happier. I'm just more glad and whatever. I've made some jokes. I posted a picture on my main YouTube channel of Ashley pointing a gun. It's just like, pointing a gun at a sociopath. Because who would that be, I wonder? It was a fun little thing, and I like joking about it because... And it's not even like... This is the most fun I've ever had joking about past stupid shit that I've had to endure. Probably because, like, this has had the best impact on me ever. And I know some people are probably going to seem like, well, with that logic, it almost sounds like you really didn't care about that friendship. But let me ask you this. Is it really a friendship if I, someone who was hurt or offended, or even other people who were hurt or offended, go to talk to this individual about this shit, and when even after apologizing, that individual goes back to what they're doing as if they never made the apology, and apparently pretends to forget about what they said? Like, oh, come on, dude. It was literally only a day ago. There's no way you're that stupid. Like, what the fuck? But is it really a friendship at that point? If the motherfucker will go behind your back and start doing all this kind of shit. In my own fucking server, no less. Like, Jesus Christ. Now, I don't know what else will transpire from these events. I really don't, because... well, things are unpredictable. But honestly, I don't care anymore. Because I'm happier. I feel like I've actually done something good for myself. I'm finally away from all the fucking toxic people I've had to tolerate. And now I could try to spend more time with those who aren't toxic, with those who are human. Because I prefer talking to humans. I don't prefer talking to just anyone who's just fine with people getting hurt and not batting an eye. So, yeah, that's all for this talking video. I'm not going to unlist or censor any previous projects or videos that do have this individual's name in it, or whatever, because A, that'd be way too much work, and B, well, I didn't do that for some other individuals that appeared in my videos, so why should I start now, right? If anything, I should be thanking them. They showed me what a bad person was really like, and I'm talking like despicable ass shit, and taught me, hey, I don't have to deal with that. So you know what? I guess I gotta thank them in the long run. But yeah, that's kind of all I got for now. Thank you guys for listening to me ramble about for a bit. I know it was a bit of a long one, but it was worth it. It was really fucking worth it. And hopefully in the future things will get better. I don't know, there might be some other things that happen in the meantime, but that's okay. I don't expect nothing to happen from this. So, yeah. To those who I talked to, obviously, about this, thank you for being people, for being real people, like real believable individuals. Like, holy shit, what a concept. Yeah, that's all I have. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see y'all whenever I see y'all. Have a good day, night, afternoon, whatever it is where you're at. Just be sure to have a good one.